San Antonio Spurs superstar Victor Wembanyama, who stands 7 feet 5 inches tall, weighed in yesterday on the recent actions of ICE in Minneapolis. The French-born NBA star telling reporters the events have left him concerned about his own safety.
PR has tried, but I'm not going to sit here and give some politically correct, I know, every day I wake up and see the news and I'm horrified. I think that it's crazy that some people might make it sound like it's acceptable. The murder of civilians is acceptable, Every day, I read the news and sometimes I'm asking very deep questions about my own life. But, I'm conscious also that saying everything, that's on my mind would have a cost that's too great for me right now. So I'd rather not get into too many details. I know I'm a foreigner, I live in this country, and I am concerned, for sure.
So John, Wemby is from France, as I said, incredibly smart and thoughtful guy, as he's shown again and again in his first couple of years in the NBA. And there are so many foreign-born players in the NBA and Major League Baseball, of course, professional soccer, the list goes on and on. I think speaking in an honest way that some athletes aren't always willing to do, but I would say in the last several years more so, speaking out particularly about issues like ICE being in their cities.
You're certainly right about the high-profile foreign-born athletes in the NBA. Wembanyama is a transcendent star. Major League Baseball, the NHL, the list goes on. Good for him for speaking out like this, but it's reflective of two things. One, I think, are genuine fear that a lot of people feel, but also how this particular story has really broken through. It's left the bubble, just as we talk about in political shows like this one. We spent yesterday about how Charles Barkley and other sort of, Bill Simmons, other like apolitical figures have felt they had to speak out about this. Other athletes, Tyrese Halliburton was among the first, said like what happened was a murder. And I have to weigh in on this. And we also, I'm thinking about as a foreign-born athlete here, I keep going back to the idea, how is this country going to pull off a World Cup in a few months? Sharing it with Canada and Mexico, but the bulk of the games are here. We've already been told the administration says they're going to have ICE patrols at stadiums. How ICE is going to help with security. We're hearing some significant people overseas saying, look, I don't think I'd travel to the United States for these games. I just wouldn't feel safe.
Yeah, that former head of FIFA said effectively, if it's me, I wouldn't go to the United States to watch the World Cup next year. That's a huge statement saying the coverage is great, stay at home and watch it there. And then there is the Olympics, less than 2 weeks away from the start of the Winter Olympics in northern Italy. The Department of Homeland Security confirmed yesterday ICE agents will join a security team from the State Department at the Games, quote, to vet and mitigate risks from transnational criminal organizations. Let's bring in MS Now international reporter Inez de la Cuetara live in London. Inez, so let's talk, first of all, about why this is happening. Is there any further explanation about how unusual this may be to send ICE to the Olympics in a foreign country, and how local officials in Italy are responding to it?
Hey, good morning. Yeah, so surprise and outrage in Italy over this news. I think people across the board in Europe have been watching the images coming out of Minnesota really in horror. Now, we are learning, according to Italian's Interior Ministry, that we're talking about a branch of ICE known as Homeland Security Investigations. This is a branch that is separate from the branch that is currently on the front lines of the immigration crackdown in the U.S. This is a branch that is already present, we understand, in roughly 50 countries at the moment. They deal with anything that ranges from drug smuggling to human trafficking to the smuggling of cultural artifacts as well. In this case, they're going to be working on security. They will not be carrying out any type of immigration enforcement operations. We understand they're going to be stationed at a control room within the U.S. consulate in Milan. They're going to be working alongside other U.S. law enforcement agencies. That part of it is not unheard of. So I will say I covered the Paris Olympics. I remember seeing LAPD officers on the Champs-Elysees. I went into the U.S. Embassy in Paris to see that control room where all the different law enforcement agencies from the U.S. were working together to keep Paris safe. So that's what we're talking about this time around as well. But of course, the very fact that ICE is going to be involved in any way here is being met with really strong pushback from the local population. I will let you listen to what the mayor of Milan had to say.
As mayor of Milan and as an Italian, I would not like it at all if this de facto private police corps would be coming to Milan. It is a police force that acts in complete illegality, apart from the fact that they kill. Illegality means also they enter houses of citizens without any warrant. They sign their own warrants, so they are completely incompatible with our ways of dealing with security.
Now, we do expect Vice President J.D. Vance to attend these Olympics. It's unclear whether the public will even notice these ICE agents on the ground in Milan, whether their presence will be visible at all. But I will say the pushback we're seeing, I think, really underscores the really tense relationship at the moment between the U.S. and its close traditional allies, especially in light of everything that happened with Greenland.
MS Now international reporter Inez de la Cuetara live from London for us this morning. Inez, thank you so much. If nothing else, David Rode, the tone deafness, given what's happening in this country, to announce that ICE will be following and traveling with our Olympic athletes to a foreign country where they're not welcome is striking.
It's astonishing, and it's just, these images, this tragedy in Minneapolis, it's just devastating for the U.S. image around the world. And the other dynamic in terms of Trump, I just want to say this, is just in terms of lying. When he went and gave that speech in Davos, he lied about so many things, how much, NATO countries are helping in the past and in the future, Russia's goals and here. And then again, the initial lies about what happened to Alex Petri. And the difference is the world's changed. We know he was, shot after he had been disarmed because of all these cameras. And the world is watching those videos also. And what you see here is an example of it. It's tone deaf. It's aggressive, it's, Trumpian, and it's just backfiring.
So, Jim Vandehei, to that point again, when you see the reaction to President Trump, sometimes, and I'm being kind, not telling the truth, whether it be on the world stage or in Iowa, whether it be about Joe Biden or the economy or the shooting of U.S. citizens on the streets of Minneapolis, it seems that the shooting has really broken through internationally. And I'm just wondering, can he split the difference politically and still get people to believe him when the lies start becoming so bold-faced, so obvious that maybe, I know you said only a few Republicans have spoken up, but the shift we're seeing, I do think, indicates behind the scenes he might be hearing from more.
Yeah, I think Jonathan Lemire hit it on the head earlier. This is spreading outside of like our bubble, sort of news obsessives, right? So in some ways, culture and celebrities are a canary in the coal mine. When you start to see athletes speak out, when you start to see even CEOs tentatively, but you've now had Sam Altman at OpenAI, you've had Dario Amodei at Anthropic, you've had Tim Cook kind of sort of speak out from Apple. You had a lot of CEOs in Minnesota. In some ways, this is the first moment since the George Floyd killing of many years ago, also in Minnesota, where you have so much pressure on celebrities and on CEOs to finally speak out and to state something that might offend President Trump. And they're kind of sort of doing it. And I think that is important. And if that pressure continues, and that pressure continues from that nice woman you had on from Iowa saying, you know what, I love the idea of maybe cracking down on immigration, but not this way. That's when members of Congress will respond. I've always thought this will be a very slow build, but sitting underneath that is the numbers that you showed earlier today. Consistently, the president's favorable ratings have been under 40%. Consistently, his immigration policies have been under 40%, even though people agreed with him on the border. If that happens long enough and members of Congress start to think that, holy hell, this might cost me my job, this might cost me the support of my constituents, only then do they start to speak out. Fear is a powerful motivator in D.C. right now, but ultimately survival is more powerful than fear.
Yeah, and you bring up the sports celebrities and CEOs. That's reaching different audiences. Those are audience that want to buy stuff and not worry about things and get to their job and feed their kids. And people who are watching sports, they want to break from politics. So when politics and what happen, events that politicians are responding to break through into the sports world, that's a completely new audience. That's raising a whole new level of consciousness about what's going on at the top. Co-founder